You know, normally I get annoyed when the video I was planning to release on a day gets bumped because of something coming out that I have to talk to right away, but when it's this good, I'm okay with it. So yeah, I was gonna put out my latest Doctor Who list today, but instead we got the new full trailer for Black Panther, so yeah, I'm gonna talk about that, and I like it quite a bit. Actually, oddly, I like it more than I feel like I should, because we don't actually get a whole lot of plot from it, which, for the record, I'm totally fine with. I like not knowing a ton about what's going to happen story-wise in these things before I get into them. But the thing is, it's weird because I feel like we got more plot from the teaser than we did from this quote-unquote full trailer, and that strikes me as a little bit odd. It's also very action beat heavy, which also feels more teaser-ish than full trailer-ish. And I also feel like if this had been the teaser, if this had come out first, I probably wouldn't like it as much. But somehow, I think maybe it's just we got just enough foundational stuff going with the teaser that I'm just kind of drinking in, getting a feel for the spectacle in this. And it's spectacle of two kinds. There's action spectacle, which normally I'd be berating the fact that it looks like it's a little CGI heavy, but there's two things about that that appear to work, at least in what I've seen so far. Number one, Black Panther's suit lends itself to CGI. Because he is completely covered, it's like Iron Man's suit. You can go full CGI and you avoid the uncanny valley because you're not seeing his actual face. You don't have to replicate that. I also feel like they're using CGI in action the way that it is best used, which is to do things that it is impossible to do any other way. So when you've got him, you know, getting knocked aside by Claw's, you know, sonic cannon, he's rocking that, which I like. So he gets knocked aside by that and then runs up a building and leaks back down onto these cars. Well, there's no possible way to do that anyway other than CGI. So when you're inventive enough to do sequences that cannot be done any other way, and you have got either CGI that is good enough, or you've got little tricks like the fact that he's in a full suit and you don't have to recreate human flesh to make this CGI look as good as this looks, that's a perfect combination for some great action set pieces. But that's not the only kind of spectacle, because we get to see more of Wakanda, and I am loving everything I see about Wakanda. It does such a good job of telling us visually a story of a society that is separate from, at least from anything I know, speaking as a white middle-class American, but it feels very much, it reminds me of Lord of the Rings. I'm looking at the costumes and the sets and the weapons, and I feel like it's all designed to tell a story. It's everything that the Inhumans should have been doing and failed to do in terms of showing a city of a completely different society that's been cut off from the rest of humanity. So I am really digging this whole look of Wakanda, and I'm liking how many different scenes we're sort of seeing there. It gives me the impression that we're going to get a lot of stuff set there, which I like, because what I don't want to happen, what usually tends to happen with the more fantastical place is it gets sidelined, usually because it's really expensive to do. That's why so much of the first Thor is set on Earth. That's what happened with Oa in Green Lantern. Heck, that's a part of why we only get so much Krypton in any given Superman movie. So I'm getting the impression that we're going to get a lot more of Wakanda than we usually get from these sorts of settings and these kinds of stories, which I also like. I'm loving the vibe I get off Michael B. Jordan. He's got a viciousness about him, and it feels very motivated. I don't know exactly what his deal is, exactly what he's after or why, but I feel like this is a guy who believes in what he's doing. It's just a vibe. It's just something about the expressions on his face and the determination in his lines. Loving that. Andy Serkis, I already mentioned. Love having him back. I always love Andy Serkis. It's not the best trailer I've ever seen. It's not a perfect trailer or anything, but I don't have anything I feel like I need to complain about. I feel like this is just a really great trailer. And again, this is probably going to be the last Black Panther trailer I'm going to watch, because I'm now 100% absolutely sold, totally looking forward to this. And like I said, I like that it doesn't tell me too much more about the plot. I don't want to know more about the plot because I'm going to see it already. So anything else that I see is just going to be spoiling stuff, whether it's major or minor. I want to know as little as possible from right here. So this will probably be the last one I see. I like it. It pumped me. Oh, you know what? A big part of how this pumped me up? The music. Great song selection and great integration of the music with the visuals, and because it felt like the trailer was in beat, and it didn't feel like it was that way because of heavy cutting to force it that way. Just something about them just married really well. It was just a real fist-pumping kind of vibe that I got at the end of this trailer, and a big part of that was the song choice, the music selection. I am really excited about this movie. I think this could be amazingly good, and interestingly, not in a way that I thought superhero movies were going to have to be for me, because I was starting to get the feeling I'm really only going to get really pumped about these things when they can be different from, like, okay, yes, it's a superhero movie, but what else is it? I mean, that's a big part of why the New Mutants trailer really kind of enticed me. But this really does look like a pretty much a straightforward superhero movie in terms of, you know, the real nuts and bolts of the narrative. But if it can be delivered with this much style, with a cast that is this game for it, with this much of a unique vision, I'm actually excited for what appears to be a fairly straightforward superhero movie. I wasn't sure I still had that in me. I'm on board. I thought this was great. What were your thoughts on the Black Panther trailer? Whatever they were, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, check me out on Twitter at Council of Geeks. Give a listen to the Council of Geeks podcast, available on iTunes and Stitcher. I'm also on half of the Punch Like a Girl podcast. That is on the Fire and Water Podcast Network, fireandwaterpodcast.com. And until next time, this council is adjourned.